The moment Monkey D. Luffy stepped into the mirror world to face Charlotte Katakuri, the battle stopped being just another fight in One Piece. It became something far more dangerous. For the first time since entering the New World, Luffy stood before an opponent who seemed completely untouchable. Katakuri could see the future. He could counter every attack before it happened. He possessed overwhelming haki, terrifying speed, and a calmness that made him feel less like a pirate and more like an unstoppable force of nature. Inside the endless world of mirrors beneath Whole Cake Island, there were no allies, no escape routes, and no room for mistakes. What began as a desperate attempt to survive slowly transformed into one of the greatest duels in anime history, a battle not simply about strength, but about evolution, pride, identity, and the terrifying cost of becoming Pirate King.
The fight between Monkey D. Luffy and Charlotte Katakuri takes place during the Whole Cake Island arc of One Piece, one of the most emotionally intense and strategically complex arcs in the series. At this point in the story, Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates have entered the territory of the Yonko, known as Big Mom, in order to rescue Sanji from a political marriage arranged between the Charlotte family and the Vinsmoke family. The mission was never supposed to become a full-scale war. The Straw Hats were heavily outmatched from the very beginning. Big Mom's empire was enormous, her commanders were monsters, and every island within Totoland operated under her absolute control. Yet the rescue mission spiraled into chaos after the wedding assassination plan failed, forcing the Straw Hats into a desperate escape while Big Mom's forces closed in from every direction.
Among all of Big Mom's commanders, Katakuri stood above the others as the strongest sweet commander. His reputation inside Totoland bordered on mythological. He had never fallen onto his back in battle. He was viewed by his siblings as a perfect warrior, a flawless protector who maintained complete control over every situation. Unlike many arrogant villains in One Piece, Katakuri was not reckless, emotional, or careless. He was disciplined, observant, and frighteningly efficient. Even before the main fight began, the anime and manga carefully built his presence as something different. Whenever Katakuri entered a scene, tension immediately increased. He predicted attacks before they happened, intercepted enemies with impossible precision, and displayed a level of haki mastery far beyond anything Luffy had previously encountered.
The first phase of the confrontation begins during the chaotic escape from Whole Cake Chateau. While the Straw Hats attempt to flee through the mirror world using Brulee's mirror powers, Katakuri relentlessly pursues Luffy. At first, the gap between them appears almost unfair. Luffy launches attacks that should normally overwhelm opponents, but Katakuri effortlessly dodges everything by using advanced Observation Haki to glimpse several seconds into the future. This ability completely changes the structure of combat. In most fights, speed and reflexes determine survival. Against Katakuri, even perfect timing is meaningless because Katakuri already knows what his opponent is about to do. What makes this especially fascinating is that Katakuri's powers create psychological pressure as much as physical danger. Luffy realizes almost immediately that standard attacks will never work. Every punch is intercepted, every transformation is analyzed. Even Gear 4th, which previously overwhelmed enemies like Doflamingo and Cracker, struggles to make meaningful progress. Katakuri calmly adapts to Boundman's speed and power, eventually revealing his own awakened Mochi Mochi no Mi abilities. The battlefield itself begins transforming into Mochi, allowing Katakuri to attack from every angle. Walls, floors, and even the environment become weapons under his control. The Mirror World setting plays a crucial role in the tone of the battle. Unlike many grand One Piece fights that unfold across cities or islands, this duel becomes deeply isolated and personal. There are no cheering allies or massive armies involved. It is simply two men locked inside an endless maze of reflections, each trying to break the will of the other. This isolation creates a feeling almost similar to a samurai duel. The fight slows down emotionally, allowing character psychology to take center stage.
One of the most important aspects of the battle is how it exposes Luffy's weaknesses in the new world. Until this point, Luffy often relied on raw instinct, endurance, and creativity to overcome stronger enemies. Against Katakuri, those qualities are no longer enough. Katakuri represents mastery. He is what a fully developed Haki specialist looks like. His control over Observation Haki is so advanced that he can avoid attacks with minimal movement, preserving stamina while forcing Luffy to exhaust himself. This difference reflects a major theme within the New World Saga. Talent alone cannot defeat emperors and their commanders. To survive among the strongest pirates in the world, Luffy must evolve beyond simple determination. As the fight continues, exhaustion begins tearing Luffy apart physically. Gear 4th consumes massive amounts of energy, and every failed attack increases the pressure on him. Yet Katakuri also begins noticing something unusual about Luffy. Unlike most enemies, Luffy refuses to collapse psychologically. Even after repeated defeats, even after being completely outclassed, he continues standing back up. This persistence slowly changes Katakuri's perception of him.
The turning point of the battle arrives through one of the most human moments in the entire series. During a brief interruption, Luffy accidentally discovers Katakuri's private ritual of secretly eating donuts and relaxing away from his family's expectations. This scene completely shatters the image of perfection surrounding Katakuri. Until then, he appeared almost inhuman, calm, elegant, and invincible. But behind that mask exists someone trapped by his own reputation. Since childhood, Katakuri had constructed a flawless public identity in order to protect his younger siblings. He believed weakness could never be shown. Every action, every expression, every victory became part of maintaining the illusion that he was unbeatable. When his sister Flampe later interferes in the battle by secretly attacking Luffy, Katakuri experiences a crisis of honor. For perhaps the first time in years, he abandons the perfect image entirely. Realizing the fight was unfairly manipulated, Katakuri stabs himself with his own weapon to restore balance between them. This moment transforms the duel from simple combat into mutual respect. Katakuri no longer views Luffy as an inferior intruder. He recognizes him as a genuine warrior worthy of facing him directly. This shift changes the emotional energy of the fight completely. Earlier, Katakuri fought with cold superiority. After the self-inflicted injury, the battle becomes more honest and personal. Luffy also changes during this phase. Rather than trying to overpower Katakuri directly, he begins adapting to Katakuri's rhythm and learning from the battle itself. The fight evolves into a training ground under life or death conditions. One of the most remarkable achievements of this arc is how it visually and narratively portrays growth in real time. Luffy's observation haki gradually improves during the battle itself. Through repeated exposure to Katakuri's future sight, Luffy starts sensing attacks moments before they happen. At first, the changes are subtle. Tiny evasions, brief reactions, instinctive adjustments. But over time, the audience realizes something incredible is happening. Luffy is evolving mid-battle against one of the strongest commanders in the world. This concept is central to understanding why the fight resonates so deeply with audiences. The battle is not built around sudden power-ups without explanation. Instead, growth emerges through suffering, adaptation, and relentless pressure. Every injury forces Luffy to sharpen his instincts. Every near-death experience pushes his haki further. Katakuri himself indirectly becomes Luffy's greatest teacher in the Whole Cake Island arc. Thematically, the duel also explores the difference between inherited authority and earned freedom. Katakuri fights because he carries the burden of protecting his family and preserving the Charlotte family's dominance. His entire identity is tied to responsibility. Luffy, in contrast, fights for freedom itself. He does not seek control over others. He wants to become Pirate King because to him, the Pirate King is the freest person on the seas. These opposing philosophies create a subtle ideological clash beneath the punches and explosions.
As the battle reaches its final stages, both fighters are nearly destroyed physically. Katakuri's composure cracks more frequently. Luffy struggles to remain conscious. The animation and choreography emphasize exhaustion rather than spectacle alone. Breathing becomes heavier, movements slow down. Every successful hit feels meaningful because the audience understands the immense effort required to land it. Then comes one of the most iconic moments in modern anime combat. Luffy unveils Snakeman, a new form of Gear 4th specifically designed for speed and unpredictability. Unlike Boundman, which focuses on overwhelming force, Snakeman continuously accelerates its attacks, making trajectories increasingly difficult to predict. This form directly counters Katakuri's future sight, because even if Katakuri sees the attack coming, reacting becomes increasingly difficult as the punches change direction mid-flight. The final exchange between them is not portrayed as a simple victory of strength. In many ways, Katakuri remains the more technically skilled fighter until the very end. But Luffy achieves something equally important. He proves that his will cannot be broken. Katakuri realizes this before anyone else. He understands that Luffy possesses the same terrifying quality found in history's greatest conquerors, the ability to continue advancing no matter how impossible the odds appear. When Katakuri finally falls onto his back, the symbolic meaning is enormous. For years, he maintained the image of invincibility before his family. Yet in defeat, he experiences liberation. He no longer needs to pretend to be perfect. In one quiet moment before collapsing, Katakuri asks Luffy whether he truly intends to return someday and defeat Big Mom. Luffy answers without hesitation that he will become Pirate King. Katakuri smiles beneath his scarf because, for the first time, he genuinely believes him. This ending is what elevates the fight beyond ordinary shonen action. Neither character truly leaves unchanged. Luffy gains advanced observation haki, greater confidence, and crucial experience against top-tier opponents. Katakuri gains something perhaps even more valuable: honesty with himself. The duel strips away illusion from both men. Luffy learns the terrifying scale of the Yonko world, while Katakuri rediscovers individuality beneath years of self-imposed perfection. From a storytelling perspective, the battle represents a major turning point in One Piece. Before Whole Cake Island, many fans still questioned whether Luffy was truly prepared for the level of power held by the Yonko commanders. After Katakuri, those doubts began disappearing. The fight demonstrated that Luffy could survive and evolve against the very best fighters in the New World. It also established Observation Haki as one of the most strategically important combat systems in the series, influencing future battles throughout the story. The duel also became legendary because of its emotional balance. Unlike purely heroic victories, this fight feels bittersweet and deeply respectful. Katakuri never devolves into hatred or cruelty. Luffy never mocks him after victory. Instead, both fighters gradually understand each other through combat. In many ways, they mirror one another. Both carry enormous expectations. Both protect people they care about. Both refuse surrender. The difference is that Katakuri had already sacrificed his personal freedom for responsibility, while Luffy still fights to preserve his freedom at all costs. Years after its release, the battle between Luffy and Katakuri remains one of the defining moments of One Piece because it captures everything that makes the series powerful. It delivers incredible action, but beneath the explosions and transformations lies something much deeper. A story about growth earned through suffering, respect born from rivalry, and two warriors pushing each other beyond their limits inside a lonely world of mirrors. In the end, Luffy did not simply defeat a Yonko commander. He crossed a threshold. He emerged from the mirror world stronger, wiser, and one step closer to standing among the legends of the sea.